Hi, so I'm going to do a quick video on what I'm processing, and I think that you as a leader, and remember, you are leading in some capacity. Maybe you're not the President of the United States or an executive at an organization, but you are leading something, and you need to for sure be leading yourself first. And that's what this applies to. When I talk about leading stronger, longer, first and foremost, it starts with leading yourself first. And that's your thoughts, that's your emotions, that's your physical body, that's your environment, and then concentric circles of expansion as a leader. And because I am committed to being my own first best client here and really being incredibly honest with myself, and then starting to be honest with myself allows me to be more open to others, because as I trust myself more and feel more I'm going to say capable of expanding my understanding from a place of authentic, that word has been overused, but when I say authenticity, it means that I have no other, it's just like, no, I'm just clear right here, focused on this moment. And that's a hard journey for a lot, especially if we've put a lot of facades up and a lot of walls up, and there's a lot of lies that we have to break down. And this is now my mission, is to break these lies down for myself, and then also just guide those that want support in doing that, as opposed to putting up more barriers around, or more tools, or more tactics, or more hacks to be more powerful in this facade. I want it to be genuine. And I've always said that I wanted it to come from the inside out, but I'm seeing that there's a whole new layer as I understand this concept that I've been diving into called natural law, or this sovereign way, which is essentially ruling yourself, being the ruler over yourself. And I mean, nothing really fancy. To me, it's like, this is, wow, that's what I've been after. And natural law or karma, or, it's like we get what we put out. These are fundamental truths to me, but now I'm embodying them. And that's been a huge difference for me. That's why you've seen a lot of my podcasts shifting towards this with my guests like Will Keller, amazing. And then I had Leslie on. She'll be on this week on the podcast. I interviewed her yesterday. It was amazing. So I received a message from a gentleman whom I interviewed, found him through, he commented on some of the YouTube videos I was doing with Will. And on those episodes, he would comment, and I was like, this guy sounds really intelligent. Let me see if we'll interview. And so he came on and I interviewed him, and again, super intelligent guy. And for me, it was just like, okay, I just want to devour information. And at the time, there was probably this crossing of concepts, because I was still new with Will and didn't know him except as someone interviewing and wanting to get information. And I didn't realize that there were, I guess, hecklers or troublemakers, right, on his channel that he had blocked. And I was talking to them or responding in the chat because apparently they came through my channel. It's like, okay, that's to me, this is all peripheral stuff. I just want to communicate. I just want to collaborate and communicate with those that are interested in expanding the truth and knowing that ultimately we're connected. So everything that's going on within me, if I lie to myself, or if I lie to you, essentially that's harming me. And if I'm lying to myself, that's harming you in the whole aggregate. And I don't want that. I don't need that. But I also understand that there's those that are, they're hungry for attention, and they project a lot of negativity. They project their own biases, etc. And this is so relevant to leaders at any level. We can see it in the media, and they lead and influence a certain way. And then you can see it in the politics, and you can see it in multiple ways where leaders are either totally thrown off of their center and they're now being an order follower. Someone else is leading them. They're a puppet on a string. And then there's also those leaders that are trying to get their ground again after being attacked, And then that can scale up or scale down, right? So in my little world, there was this really interesting email that came in from a gentleman named Dennis. Dennis was the person that I interviewed at least a month ago, probably 2 months ago now, that I thought the interview was really interesting. So many concepts he introduced, and I felt that he was on his own journey and he was sharing the journey. And so I didn't think much of it. It was just a lot over my head, a lot of intellectual ideas. So I am sharing this because what I thought was really interesting was, hopefully I can figure out how to do this. What I thought was really interesting with his email that came back was complete projection. But first, so here I am living my life, and how many times have you done this where you're just living your life and someone puts something out there, and you're like, what is this? And then maybe it hits you in a certain way and you respond internally first, emotionally, right? My first was defensiveness. I was like, I didn't do anything. What are you talking about? I was confused. And I was like, and there was more to it, but that was my instant thing. My instant response and my instant feeling was fear and confusion. And then I got another, and I responded back, and then I saw another email come in, and he's like, you're not being honest with yourself, and I'm going to show it to you. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is an opportunity, Stephana, this is an opportunity to feel everything and tell the freaking radical truth. Now, come on, this is an opportunity, even though it was uncomfortable, right? And I'm dealing with this, and I'm like, okay, look, if I'm going to lead myself, if I'm going to lead my thoughts, and I'm going to lead my emotions, and then I'm going to lead my actions, how is that actually going to look? So I had to slow things way down for me, right? Because I tend to go, so slow down. And as Will says, stop. He says, stop, drop, and I can't remember what the other one was, but stop. So for me, that's slow down. I don't want to stop altogether because that's whiplash for me. But I can slow down to a pace that I can understand and go, okay, let me look what's going on. And then I checked in with the emotions because I'm really working on feeling everything as opposed to suppressing it, as opposed to even just like trying to get away from it or avoid it or tap it away. It's like, okay, if it's so much that I can't handle it, I'll tap. I'll use the emotional freedom technique, right? I'll use that as a tool. Taught my clients this. It's a very effective, useful, free tool, right? Tap, 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 letting the central nervous system come down, breathing, coming back into my body. Okay, hello. Wow. And then I could look at it again. I was like, okay, this is interesting, kind of funny. And I felt defensive. And then I also felt a little offended. And I felt sad and embarrassed because Will Keller is someone that I really admire and respect. And he was a catalyst in meeting Dennis. And so there was a bit of confusion. And so it's really fascinating that when these things happen, what happens as a leader, I think it diminishes our ability to stay present. And remember, my intention, anytime I'm working or when I'm speaking to a group, we start with practicing presence, right? That's the P of the Pilot Your Way method. And it's hard to be present when your emotions all over the place. And when your emotions are all over the place, because you don't understand what's happening or someone's projecting things on you, their emotions, their ideas. And this is almost like that gaslighting that we've all experienced over the last 5 years. Maybe you've experienced it over your whole life, where there's gaslighting and people that are, psychopaths, and they're in your vicinity. And it's like, oh my God, you can get really messed up. But as a leader, you have to stay strong. You have to focus, establish a sense of clarity, and always move from truth. Always move from truth. And remember, truth is not subjective. It's objective. So let's look at the truth. Let's see what's coming up here. And I was thinking I see why it's happening. Okay. I'm not going to go off on another tangent. What I'm going to do is just open up this window and see if it will now allow me to do it. Here we go. Okay, perfect. All right, so since Dennis Gilmore is a public figure at this point, he's got a great Substack, highly intellectual, very intellectual from my viewpoint, meaning very cerebral, very like incredible concepts, definitely more than what I can bite off and chew at this point. So interesting, and I think that I've shared for sure with the podcast that I did with him. I've shared all of his links, and this is what he sent me. So first off, when I saw his podcast, he responds, or he will take material that others do, like Mark Passio, like Will, myself and Will in all of our interviews, and he'll go through and then give his commentary on it. And that's not something I'm experienced with. In fact, when I saw that at the first time, it was like, oh my gosh. And not offensive, but more so there's like, oh, I don't want to see myself. I don't want to go and rehash something I've already done. And that's something that I definitely have to deal with within myself, that I don't want to rehash things I've already done in the past, because I feel like I've already accumulated so many mistakes, so many things that where I'm at in my life. And again, see, this is where as a leader, we have to be radically intentional about what our lives are, what we're doing, and really stay clean. So the ratio of amount of time that I am cleaning up my past and cleaning up my life is a lot higher than the ratio of what I'm doing in creating new things. Whereas before I was creating like 98% of everything I was doing was creating more stuff to outrun that past. So now I've calmed down a little bit. I'm more like 15 to 20% of creating new things. And now I'm spending more of that 80% of my time and energy to go back and clean up the truth, the pieces where I was lying to myself. And this, for yourself, you want to find out what's the ratio that you need to clean up, right? So let's just look at this. So he says, I appreciate the sort of explanation, but I don't think you're being honest. And here's why. So what I said was, hi, Dennis, there was no malicious intent nor criticism of you on my part. I merely asked Will because I honestly just didn't know. And I felt very foolish that I brought up the Jeff guy. So Jeff was a heckler. And then Alicia's question. So apparently Alicia is a heckler and was blocked on Will's channel, but not on mine. So she got through mine. I don't know Alicia. I don't know Jeff, but I saw their comments and I was trying to respect anyone who comments on my channels. I'm interested in dialogue of good intent, where we're all wanting to expand our awareness in a truthful way. And so I said, I thought this was innocuous. And then Alicia mentioned you in the comments, because Alicia had said, she didn't specifically, she said Dennis made the PDF. And Will and I were talking about a PDF of the transcript of Mark Passio's work. So you see how all this is like convoluted, and this is so much what happens. And I think in a leader's life, especially someone who's an influencer, that there's going to be stuff. And so what do? Do we ignore it, or do we totally just like laser it out? I think the first thing is, because at first I was going to ignore it, and then I noticed it was coming up again. It's like, okay, so what's up? Let me just check in on this. Okay, there's still some stuff. There's still some energy on this. Can I clean it myself? There's still some stuff. Okay, so then I got now in this response with Dennis. I don't think you're being honest. That's projection, right? Okay, and that's his opinion. And we know opinions. What are opinions, right? Everybody has one. And here's why. I don't know anything about Alicia's claims of me being the source of some PDF. Okay, so it was in the chat, just right. I have no clue who Alicia is, me either, and nor anything about a PDF that she could claim, but she's irrelevant really, because I see evidence before today's chat with Will Keller that you had already made a judgment about me. So making a judgment about someone, this is what leaders have to do, right? Leaders have to make judgments, or their time can really get pulled. Their energy can get pulled. In the Pilot Your Way method, I talk about, so P is practicing presence, and the I is intention. So what's your intention? In this moment, my intention right now is not only to understand for myself, hopefully to understand with Dennis, and from a place of care, share this information with others who might be in a similar situation. The L is letting go, lighten up, right? That's a practice. And then the O is observation. And observation is noticing without judging, notice without judgment, because you want to see what is there. When we judge, we're basically taking piece of information, and comparing, judging, whereas observation is just like, that's what I see. It's objective, right? So, in this, I just want to be really clear, Dennis, and anyone listening, that for someone to have made a judgment about you, who cares anyway? Who cares? To me, right there, that says to me that person has already made a judgment about themselves. And this is all about this person. It's not even about me, which is something that was a great realization in kind of trying to unravel this for myself and go, okay, what is all this about? I've had 2 interactions with this Dennis gentleman. And I'll say more than that with the emails, and I have the thread, but in person, like over the video, one key interaction that I thought was useful and beneficial for all who would observe it. So then I see his judgment coming up. And this is where leaders cannot take on or misown someone else's judgment. Super important lesson, especially when someone is projecting their stuff. And if you are present as a leader, and if you are intentional in what you are doing, and you can let go of others' projections of you, and you especially observe when that comes up, you use the right tool. So the T of the pilot, your way, the T is using the right tool. So I'm using a few different tools here. The first one I'm using for sure is telling the truth. That's definitely a tool. And a lot of us need to sharpen that tool. The other one I'm doing is letting go, right? So I'm letting go of whatever emotions will cause it stop. Drop the emotion and think. Well, I'm saying letting go of the emotions, because it's not useful for me to feel afraid or embarrassed or sad or whatever. That's not useful. It's not useful for what my intention is. And the other tool is that now I'm using my podcast. I'm using art, as Will talks about it. I'm using art to communicate a message that there is a lot of projection going on. You name it, anywhere on any social media platform, on any video platform, anywhere in your own life, there is so much freaking projection, and it gets exhausting. So as a leader, you have got to know when to cut that off, because it is a useless suck of your energy, and it's like having vampires, just like, okay, so, or those poisonous darts. So as getting strong and coming into your power center as a leader, just knowing that, it goes back to the truth. If you can look at yourself in the mirror and you can be telling yourself the truth, then you can face this BS. Anything that comes up. I'm not saying Dennis is BS. I mean, this is his truth. This is his perception. This is his projection. It's not truth. It is not truth. This is super important as we start to uncover what's truth, what's perception. Okay? And I think that we have got to have leaders who take stands of what is truth. All right, so now he goes into blah, 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 she's irrelevant. No, she's completely relevant, because Alicia was the person who specifically said that Dennis created this PDF, which was false. I repeated what Alicia said because I thought she knew better. And here's another key piece. When you don't know all the data, don't repeat it. That's 3 fingers pointing back to me. Don't go and spew that out. As a leader, you have to look at the information and make sure it's truthful, okay? Then Alicia was making comments in today's broadcast in real time. She asked questions in real time, but you had already blocked me. Blocked you? No, I didn't. Okay? No, I didn't. That's a lie. That's false. You made that up. And judgment about you prior. Again, this is all projection, sir. And this is most likely more stuff that will come up for others because they've got this. At this point, I don't want to say bring it on, but I'm going to face this stuff down. I'm going to face the truth. Okay, so let's just look at this. You had already decided that my riff post was bad and blocked me on your YouTube channel. Again, lie. I know you did this because the first comment that I ever made in your live, the very first time with Will, were able to be seen by everybody, but in status chat, I noticed I was shadow banned. I didn't do, okay, not true. So nobody else could see my comments, never saw them. So my point is, you had already decided, again, it's okay, so perfect. This is projection. And then I just forwarded this to Will. And I said, I find this fascinating, couldn't even read it all because it was clear he was in his own reality and funny in an icky, strange way. I don't even know how to block someone. Weird. Okay, so that was me responding in a kind of a petty, petulant child way because my feelings were, I was like, what? And truly, I don't even know how to block someone, but I'm going to find out. Here's the thing. We have work to do, people. That's you, Dennis. That's you, Alicia. That's you, Jeff. That's you, name anybody there. We have work to do. And we got to knock off this BS bickering between people. This is a waste of energy, a waste of time. Stop it. We need leaders who stand up, who tell the freaking truth to themselves first. And I will freaking do it. I will go to the mat to tell the truth on this because I'm sick of it. I am the one who've lied to myself for decades. And I pointed fingers blaming it on, oh, the perpetrator, the person who this section, oh, my mommy didn't love me, blah, 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 blah. Enough. I'm done with it. I've seen the repercussion as a result from people that I freaking care about, that I truly care about. And I've wasted time and energy because I was stuck in those lies and instead of being fully present. And I think that that's what Alzheimer's is. I think that that's what dementia is, where we can't even know what's really going on because we won't confront the truth of ourselves. Then we occlude it. Then we lie to ourselves. And guess what? Then we forget everything because we can't see the truth. Well, I'm done with that. I will spend the rest of my breath on this planet telling the freaking truth, not your truth. Okay, not your perspectives, because you clearly have perspectives, whomever you are. But don't put them on me and don't project them. It's time we lead. We lead ourselves, we lead our families, we lead our communities, and we stop letting someone else do it for us. Most especially not the media, most especially not some political party that is all a puppet. And we are little freaking ants? No. It's time to wake up, people. It's time to lead stronger, longer. Now, sometimes that energy is not going to work. But as I watch my son watch Mark Passio and totally resonate with someone who cuts to the chase and doesn't give you a bunch of allegory and story and spread it all out and make it all nice and pretty, he just tells you like it is. You know what? I'm starting to get it because of that. And I'm starting to see that more of us need to hear it straight up. So call me out. Call me out. But don't project your BS on me. All right? And I would say for you as a leader, you go ahead and say, team, family, anyone you're leading, okay, call me out. But don't project your BS. Don't project your BS on me or the situation. Because your perception is not the same as the truth. And let's get to the truth. See you next time.